Good afternoon. It is March 18, 2024, and it's a Monday once again. Here in Sherbrooke, it is currently 2 degrees Celsius, 35 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cloudy. That's pretty much it. It's not much different from yesterday. It's not going to get as warm, though. I've decided this week to go with a theme for the songs that I talk about and I think about, and it's songs that have made me cry. And today I'm going to continue on with the Mountain Goats. We've been thinking about the Mountain Goats, and I've been listening to the Mountain Goats, and I'm going to talk about the song Exegetic Chains by the Mountain Goats. I've debated it recently because I had this experience of crying very, very hard listening to this song recently. And I was trying to think, like, how could I describe this to somebody else? Why this song is so powerful and beautiful to me, and it's difficult to do because I think, and I'm not saying it's like necessary to. I hesitate to say that certain conditions must be met for certain works of art to resonate with people, because often, like, if something is really good, then people will get it, right? You know, small aside, that's why I really, like, unless you're like a really, really like interesting a musician with an interesting life or a great storyteller, like, I think I find it usually very cringeworthy when musicians will talk a lot between songs and like describe their songs and what their songs are about. It's like, if you're Nick Cave or you're Bob Dylan or you're Patti Smith, like, please talk as much as, or Elizabeth Cotten, which, by the way, her live album is one of the greatest folk records I've ever heard in my life. It's really beautiful. I would listen to Elizabeth Cotten just talk about her life for an hour, even if she didn't play any songs. But generally speaking, it's not that interesting. And so I think, like, usually, like, if your song is good, everybody's pretty much going to be able to understand it. Doesn't mean they're going to like it, but they'll understand it. But in this case, since the song is heavily based on references to things in the past, try to explain it as succinctly as possible. So, John Darnielle, the Mountain Goats. Mountain Goats, when they first started, up until 2002, John Darnielle it was mainly John Darnielle, and he would record on this Panasonic boombox, which is like a tape recorder and radio with, speakers, which are like an oblong. Is it an oblong? What is an oblong? I feel that it's an oblong shape, but I don't think doesn't matter. He'd record on that, and did it sound good? I think, like, it was definitely very, very low fidelity, but it was a vibe, and I think it sounded really good. It was a cool aesthetic, but it eventually stopped working, and he had recorded the album All Hail West Texas, which came out in 2002, which is possibly my favorite Mountain Goats album. Maybe. I don't know. It's really good, but the Panasonic boombox stopped working, so we couldn't record with it anymore. And you can sort of hear it struggling throughout All Hail West Texas, which is an interesting aesthetic to itself. And so then after the boombox stopped working, he got a band together, and he's been with that band ever since 2002, for 22 years. It might have been 2002, 2003. I don't know when the band got started, but band's been around longer than there wasn't a band. But during the pandemic, just so happens that John Darnielle had a lot of time on his hands, as we all did. And he got the boombox out of storage, and he figured out that he put it on its side, which you'll see in the video that I'm linking if you choose to watch it. He figured out that if you put it on its side, it started working again. So he decided he was going to write an album using the songwriting methods and lyric writing methods that he had used back when he used the boombox to record his projects. And he put out this album called Songs with Pierre Chauvin, which is about the last pagans in Europe, which is a fantastic album. And this is the last song on the album. And, as you'll hear in the video, because I'm going to link the video of him recording it, but maybe I'll also link the version recorded onto tape, so you get that Panasonic hum, as he says. But this is why it's so powerful to me. So I think it's really telling that he would dig back into the past during the pandemic, because I think all of us were trying in some way to do things to get us out of having to be in the experience of the pandemic. It was awful for everybody. Like, I know that there definitely was a division, which I think some of it is healed, some of it is not. Some of it is healed. I mean, it's definitely healed for me. I was definitely like in a position pretty quickly, but definitely increased over time. Now that I think back at it, it was so much time. It didn't seem like so much time, but it was so much time, where I got like increasingly resentful and judgmental of people who didn't think like me. And I was just following all the rules, and I'm like, if everybody just follows the fucking rules, then we'll get through this. But that's not really how it worked out. And so, like, we were all trying to figure out ways of, like, not... But then we're also just fucking stuck at home all the time. Stuck alone with ourselves. Or with another person or a couple other people. And so we went back into the past. And so in this song, there's a ton of references to his past work. A lot of which I haven't picked up on. Other people's work. And he says it clearly, like, all the references are intentional. And... one thing that I've started thinking about more since like late last year is how, as soon as the world started to open up again, even though, as I said, I was really like, vaccinate me as often and as quickly as possible. I'll take all the fucking vaccines. I'll do everything possible, because this isn't about me, right? Individually, like, it doesn't matter if I'm suffering, everybody else is suffering, and we can all work together to just try to alleviate some of the suffering, right? By having something in common. And so what happened, though, was when things started to open up, it was like a switch flipped. I think that's how it was for a lot of other people, too. It's like, once it wasn't required to wear masks anymore, I just stopped wearing them. I hated wearing a mask. I just stopped wearing a mask, even though it was probably objectively a good idea to keep wearing a mask. When it started to hear, like, the public health people saying, well, okay, and this was, like, I guess the next, like, fall, after things started to open up again, that, yeah, so the numbers are rising up again, we should maybe social distance again. Like, I'd still go to shows and not wear a mask at shows. And, I ended up getting COVID-19 a couple times. I think I've had it twice, as far as I know. And it's like, it sucked, but I'm still here. And it was just like this gigantic traumatic experience. I guess that was traumatizing in, like, individual ways, but was also, like, traumatizing to everybody. I just immediately just, like, shoved it into the past. And I think one of the big issues here in Quebec is that we don't have access to a lot of mental health services. Like, there's, like, community organizations and stuff, but, like, it's very difficult to see psychologists. And, like there's this perception that, like, well, Canada's great because they have universal healthcare, or as people call it, like, free healthcare. It's not free. Okay, yes, we have universal healthcare, but, like, what is provided by our healthcare system, which I mean is different in each province, but I guess I'll speak specifically to Quebec. You get a lot of resources, but it's not going to help with everything. Like, being able to see a psychologist is something that I think pretty much everybody could benefit from. And we don't have this. And then we had this, like, mass trauma and we still don't have access to the resources necessary to really process that trauma, or at least most people don't. And so when you listen to this song this year, well, that's what it's going to be about. The song Exegetic Chains, he makes a reference to the song This Year in the lyrics, which is one of the, if not the most popular Mountain Goat song. Maybe No Children is the most popular Mountain Goat song. The chorus of This Year goes, "I'm going to make it through this year if it kills me." And it's the story of this teenager who's filled with vigor and passion and anger, and he just says "fuck it" and grabs a bottle of liquor that he has and starts driving really fast. And it's this beautiful song about the burning passion of youth. And so he makes a reference to it. He says, "I'm gonna make in Exegetic Chains," which came out during the and was written and recorded during the pandemic. He says, "Make it through this year if it kills us outright." And I mean, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional now. The fact of making it global to everybody. I mean, it's just a great use of that line. But then at the end of the song, after he finishes singing, he starts to play the chord progression of This Year. And what made me so emotional, and what makes me so emotional when I think about it, is how, I mean, and this isn't, not everybody's heard that song. It's a pretty popular song, but not everybody's heard that song. But by just playing a series of guitar chords, without words, just making a very quick reference to the past, but to something, to a piece of art that has been so important to a lot of people, and it's been like this powerful symbol to a lot of people. I just find so beautiful, and it was just like this. It was difficult to stay. I was gonna say hopeful, but to really have faith in a future during that time. But I guess somewhat ironically, maybe not ironically, but just counterintuitively, going back towards the past, and showing that there is the possibility of art, of just a single piece of art, renewing some of that faith, I found was such a powerful thing. And so I was thinking about that song and how amazing it is that John Jarnier was able to do that, to create something so powerful without saying any words, by just playing. And it's not it's what is it, A, C sharp minor, A, and D, I think. It's 4 or 5. It's 3 chords, but just, and it's not exactly the same melody. And then I think he puts another chord in there. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that it's very clearly a reference to This Year. And just by playing this very simple chord progression a couple times, you can evoke the past before this traumatic event. But he can also reach back into that past and grab how would I even say this? Because this year it's like a celebration of the reckless faith of youth, even the dangerous faith of youth. But it's something that I don't think ever really leaves. I don't think the memory. I mean, I guess it can leave some people, but I think for a lot of people that memory doesn't leave. But it's definitely more difficult to access or sometimes impossible to access, which, I mean, makes sense because, like, of course, you're most people aren't going to be as reckless as they are when they're young because they've learned. They've learned the consequences of recklessness. But this song this year, it's like yeah, it's just pointing out the beauty of that passion and that recklessness. And so bringing that back into the present, into a moment where everybody is stuck in this state of torpor. Is torpor the word? Speaking of references, I was thinking of the word state of torpor from a Joanna Newsom song. Yeah, state of mental or physical inactivity or insensibility. And this state of torpor, frozen in our homes, you know? When what we really want to do is just to go out and, you know, metaphorically drive fast. Bringing that into that moment was so important and gave me some faith for the future. And also, like, it just made me feel like I'm experiencing this thing with other people, even though we're not. I don't know the people who are listening to this, but to just know, like, this affected me emotionally really strongly. I know it's affecting other people strongly as well. And we're all silently, ignorantly sharing this emotion, and how, like, I know other people can feel this beauty as well and can appreciate this beauty. It was really powerful. And then I was thinking about this and I decided, like, I'm going to listen to this song again. A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and then I listened to the song and I started bawling, totally broke down sobbing, which I very rarely do. And it's usually only when I listen to music. I'm trying to think, like, of times in my adult life that I've cried, not while listening to music. And I can't think. I know probably 3 times when I was drunk. When I learned that Jason Molina died, I remember crying. That's a musician who died, so. And yeah, I think that the reason why I cried so much at that point is because it touched that nerve of the totally unresolved, untreated, unexplored trauma of the pandemic that I have not even really truly begun to process. Although I guess I'm working on processing other older trauma. This has gone on for far too long. Sort of like this middling weather dancing around the 0 degrees Celsius, 30, was it 31, 32 degrees Fahrenheit? I don't even know anymore. No, I gotta give accurate information. 33.8 degrees. Is it going to freeze? Is it not going to freeze? I don't know. I like for the weather to just decide. But the weather is a chaotic system with no intention or will. So I don't know. All right, it's been almost 20 minutes. Thank you if anybody's watching this. Thank you very much. Thank you for the people. Thank you to the people who've been watching and commenting. I really appreciate it. I don't understand why this is being recommended to people. I'm afraid of alienating people who are watching by making these very long. But this one was quite important to get out and to talk about for me. There will be no beautiful blue skies and golden sunshine all along the way today. It's just going to be gray. But my goal for tonight, I didn't do anything different last night, by the way. I didn't really go to bed earlier. What I'm going to do today is at 11 p.m., I'm going to get away from my computer. That is what I'm going to do. At 11 p.m., I will stop being in front of my computer. I can read, I can listen to music, I can do anything other than be in front of my computer, and that is what I'm going to do. Thank you. Everyone, have a great day.